objects to objects to CSV. So objects to CSV is basically just converting these objects, JavaScript objects, to a CSV file. And of course you could build this yourself. You could build it all the way from the ground up. Basically a CSV file is not that complicated. I mean, it's just columns with a separator, like a comma between them, and we could do that somehow for the JavaScript. But if someone already built it, why not just use their code instead if it works for you? So that's what we're gonna do. First, let's go and get the package. It's called objects to CSV. So we say yarn add objects to CSV. Then let's go and check out what he's writing in here. So you can create the objects to CSV file here. And then we can make an async call to create the CSV file. It's super easy. You just use the data and pass it in. I'm gonna link to the objects to CSV page here as well, of course, so you can follow along. So I copy paste this objects to CSV, require up here in the top, and well, then we'll make a new async function. Everything is async these days. Create CSV file, and we pass in the data. And then let's just shamelessly copy this code we have from the page here. And so it's creating a new CSV. It's basically a string, I'm guessing you're getting out of it from the objects to CSV that we imported up here. And you put in the data, which is just this array of objects. And then we call a asynchronous function inside of a CSV, which is called toDisk. And we just put in our file name, and we get the file. I'm not interested in having this console log here, so I'm just gonna delete that. We can read the file afterwards. Let's try and do it. Wait, create CSV file, jobs, full data. Okay, so now we can say that the job is done. We can go home. Let's try it. Node index, just index.js. Let's see if it writes the file. It should be writing the file. Okay. Ta-da! So here we have the header of the CSV file with the title, and then there's a description and URL. There's everything that you would need. Let's try and see if Google Sheets can read this. So I'm just gonna upload the file. Which one is it? Let's see. It's this one. Here's the text.csv. I just want to see if Google Sheets can read this file, if it looks okay. So I say open with Google Sheets. Yeah, it looks okay. We have the description here. It's a pretty big text, but it's okay. I think it's interesting data to have. Then we have the title and all of the different jobs here with the compensation, address, so on. Yeah. One thing to notice is that the date posted looks pretty odd. This is actually the epoch time of the date that we made before, which was a JavaScript object. So if we try and put it in here, this one is assuming that the timestamp is in milliseconds, so it's kind of a weird format that the date is in. Let's try and make it a bit more readable for the data. So if you go in index.js, and instead of having this as a JavaScript date, let's try and just have it as the datetime property from the page itself. And let's just run it again and try and see how it looks inside Google Sheets this time. Let me delete this one. And I think this one is done now. It's done. I will upload the new file and check it out. Check it out now. Okay. Let's see. And now we have a lot more readable format for the date, I think. So that was it. Well, now what are we gonna do with the rest of our time? I don't know. Go home, relax, because we already did our job. Now it's just to convert the JSON into an CSV file from the script. If you have any other things you want to know, then feel free to write me in the YouTube or on Udemy question and answers. I'm always curious to see what you would like to learn. See you.